This begins our lectures on section 1.2. Our objectives in section 1.2, as you can see, are the coordinate system, what a coordinate and what an ordered pair are, independent and dependent variables, plotting points in the coordinate system, creating a scatter diagram, and reading bar graphs. Now, we are going to focus on the first topic in this, but I want to introduce the others before we begin that. So first of all, bar graphs and scatter diagrams are methods of representing data visually. A bar graph is best used for comparing data, while a scatter diagram can be used to show how there is a general trend or to make inferences about relationships of data that contain independent and dependent variables. Now that idea of independent and dependent is going to come up here quite frequently in the next little bit. A bar graph can either be horizontal or vertical. The graphs in Lehman's book, I notice, are vertical. The horizontal axis in these graphs is going to group the information, such as one of the examples in Lehman's book where they're the names of the movies, while the vertical axis shows the data being compared, such as revenue. The horizontal axis is indeed still the independent values, and the vertical axis is the dependent. The relationship between independent and dependent is exactly what you would expect. Independent meaning that you have a piece of information that can come from anywhere, and then there's a piece of information that is dependent upon that relationship between independent and dependent. A scatter diagram uses paired data, and the independent is paired with a piece of dependent information, and it can be graphed on a coordinate system, and that's where we're going to spend some time right now, is on that coordinate system. So allow me to scroll down the notes here and we'll take a look at the coordinate system. So what you see below, right here in this area, is the rectangular coordinate system, also called the Cartesian coordinate system, and many times just called coordinate system for short. This system is made up of two axes. This axis across here, called the horizontal axis, and this axis here called the vertical axis. The horizontal axis we refer to as the x-axis, and the vertical axis we refer to as the y-axis. Now, the x-axis usually does relate to our independent variables, and the y-axis relates to our dependent variables. When we look at these axes, there will be coordinates associated with each of the points on this, and these coordinates are going to be labeled just like a number line. So the coordinates go positive as we go further and further right, and at 0 they start going negative as we go further and further left. And on the vertical axis, the y-axis, as we go up we get more and more positive, and as we go down we get more and more negative from 0. Where the two intersect one another is generally at 0, 0, so x is 0 and y is 0, and we call the point of intersection the origin, and this right here is something called an ordered pair. Now it's important to realize that one of the purposes of a coordinate system is a purpose of giving a frame of reference for a plane, which is just a flat surface such as the sheet of paper. But we can see coordinate systems used in things like the longitude and latitude that's mapped across our entire world, so we can find locations on the world quite easily. Now, you don't think of the world as being flat, but it certainly is. So we are going to be talking about coordinates, ordered pairs, the origin, and the quadrants as we go into our next discussion. And as we go into our next discussion, we will very quickly learn how to plot points in this coordinate system. So that ends our introduction to section 1.2.